podcast time.
Make it so.
It's me, Mario.
I'm Batman. Strong am I with the Force.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
You're a wizard, Harry.
And welcome to World War G episode 152. I'm Troy.
I'm AJ.
Time for a list.
Yes, everybody loves a list.
I've been feeling nostalgic lately,
Oh, yeah?
as usually I do.
Mm-hmm. Around this time, especially when it gets dark at like 5 o'clock, you know, and kind of start feeling...
I was going to say, where are you going with this?
I'm just meaning like, you know, it gets like dark, there's nothing to do, you start kind of reminiscing, you know, contemplating life as leaves are falling down, you know, everything's dying around you.
You start sitting in a corner and contemplating, you know, life was so much better when I was a child.
I hate all this adulting that
What's
I have
the
to
point
do
of
now.
living now?
Yeah.
Nothing but sorrow and sadness as an adult. As the world crushes all your hopes and dreams around you. Much like the leaves falling from the trees.
Not entirely, because you got like a ray of hope and sunshine when you saw that the Ninja Turtles were going to be on Injustice 2.
That's true. That made my month. I don't know when they're going to be out though, which is sad.
Yeah.
Because I know they're releasing the Atom, like it's like December 16th or something.
Okay.
So I don't know if Ninja Turtles are going to be like next year. I don't know. I want them now.
Yeah. Have that fight.
I got to have my Donatello Superman fight. It's going to blow my mind.
Yeah.
I may just up and die when that happens.
Okay.
It's like there's nothing else.
You need like
after this,
you know, an ambulance or paramedic or something standing by.
Yep.
Yeah, just in case.
So because of all that, I found this list: 15 kids WB cartoons you totally forgot about.
Totally.
I would say
I forgot about the word totally.
I was going to say 15 kids WB cartoons you totally forgot about on a station you probably forgot existed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who remembers kids WB? I don't. Number 15. Let me know if you remember these. The Batman.
I've got all 3 seasons on DVD.
So that would be a yes.
That would be a yes.
Something of the middle child, the Batman cartoons. The Batman is one series that doesn't really stand out that much. Batman, the animated series, is the classic everyone remembers.
Oh, absolutely.
Batman Beyond is the cyberpunk Bat series that no one wanted at first, but eventually stole everyone's heart. Then Even Brave and the Bold is remembered for all its team-ups and light-hearted sense of humor. But the Batman really doesn't have much of anything to make it stand out.
I did like the animation style. They went a different direction with Batman, but it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. Has some cool toys that went along with it, so
Right?
yeah, it's all right. Number 14, and this one I did forget about till just now. The Zeta Project.
Oh, yeah!
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Set in the 2030s, Zeta Project was a stealth spin-off from the popular kids' WB series Batman Beyond. Set around a robot named Zeta, the story was about a robot known as a synthoid that carried out assassinations in the name of National Security Agency. Eventually, discovering that not all targets were guilty of any real crime, Zeta grows a conscience and goes rogue, abandoning his mission and the NSA as well.
I didn't watch all that much of that show, but I do remember it.
Yeah, I didn't watch much of it either. Number 13, Shaolin Showdown. Taking advantage of the growing popularity of anime during the time period, Shaolin Showdown was a series that came to Kids WB in 2003 and aired for 3 seasons. Created by Christy Hoi.
Bless you.
Sorry if I got that wrong. The show managed to merge Eastern aesthetics with Western humor and sensibilities. following a group of young Shaolin warriors locked in battle with their opposites, the forces of Highland. Number 12, Mucha Lucha. One of the odder series to find its way into the list, Mucha Lucha, was created by Eddie Mort and Lil Chin. Oh, not Lily Chin. Not Lil Chin.
Lil Wayne, Lil Chin.
I found my new rap name, Lil Chin. And set
Maybe
in town.
Asian.
Yeah. And set in town of Southern California, where nearly everyone is a masked luchador and obsessed with lucha libre, the Mexican version of professional wrestling. The protagonists for the series, Ricochet, Buena Girl, and The Flea, all attend the foremost world-renowned International School of Lucha, studying to become proper luchadors under a variety of other masked wrestlers.
I do remember this show.
I remember, like, they show the picture there, and I remember it, but I never watched it.
Yeah. Loosely based on, what's his bucket? Jack Black's performance of Nacho Libre.
Was it?
No.
Oh, I was going to say. I think that came out later.
Yeah.
Now, 11, on the other hand, I watched probably every episode of Freakazoid.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
One of the oldest shows to air on Kids WB, Freakazoid was a superhero parody series created by the legendary creators Paul Dini and Bruce Timm.
Oh, wow.
Same guys that did Batman the Animated Series and Superman the Animated Series.
They needed a break.
Yeah. It's like, we gotta do something humorous here. The cartoon followed a young teenage computer geek known as Dexter Douglas, who gained superpowers when a hidden sequence of keys was typed on his computer by his cat. Fantastic show.
Oh, it was yeah. It reminded me a lot of like the Animaniacs, that kind of satire, witty satire.
Well, it poked fun at everything.
Oh, it did.
I remember once he and the police chief, Cosgrove, went to a Star Trek convention.
Mm-hmm.
And it was freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fantastic show. If you've never seen Freakazoid, check it out. Number 10.
You can find it.
Oh, it's out there.
Oh.
I'm sure you can find it somewhere. You can Blackbeard it.
Yeah?
Number 10. Legion of Superheroes. I actually watched this one quite a bit.
Really?
Yes. Before WB caught up in an endless loop of Justice League and Batman series, they took a chance on a new superhero on a few superhero shows that weren't a part of their biggest cash cow franchises. The first was Cartoon Network's Teen Titans in 2004, and the second was Kids WB's Legion of Superheroes series in 2006, based on the DC Comics 30th Century Super Team. Yeah, that wasn't bad.
Yeah?
I think it might have been... No, I was going to say it might have been created by the same people, Paul Dini and them, but I don't think it was.
I don't think so. If anything, it looks more like the guys that did the Batman.
Yeah.
Kind of similar style.
Number 9, Men in Black. This one I also watched quite a bit of. In the late 90s, Men in Black became one of the most popular action films to air in theaters, thanks to standout performances by its two key actors, Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, and its widely creative world setting. So naturally, because it was the 90s, someone had to figure out how to keep monetizing it, and thus the Men in Black cartoon was born.
Oh, man.
Did you ever watch that?
A little bit. The aliens were probably the funniest part about the whole series.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, it was nothing that you're ever going to remember, but it was.
Did they have Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones?
No.
I didn't think so.
No, they got the redheaded stepchildren of the acting world, the voice actors, to come in and do their impressions of Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. Number 8, Ozzy and Drix. I think this was one that was...
It was a movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, that they turned into The movie was bizarre.
Yes, it was.
Kind of a lot more crass than, what my parents wanted us seeing as kids.
Yeah. In 2002, Warner Brothers Animation managed to get a spin-off of the popular film Osmosis Jones onto their kids' animation block. The show followed main characters Osmosis Jones, a white blood cell with little respect for the rules, and Drix, a by-the-book cold pill, though it changed the body they inhabited from the gross zookeeper Frank to a teenage kid named Hector Cruz. Yeah, Frank was played by, do you remember? In the movie?
I can't, but I do remember that nasty zit flying across and landing on that chick's, mouth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Played by Bill Murray.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not one of his finer performances.
No. Number 7. Magi Nation. I have no idea what this was.
You have to use your imagination. I would imagine.
Released during the card game craze of the mid to late thousands, or aughts as they're called, Magi Nation was a cartoon series based on a card game known as Magi Nation Duel, a co-production between Korean and Canadian animation studios. Magi Nation was set in a fantasy universe known as the Moonlands, where an evil being named Magi Agram was beginning to unlock the seals that have kept him inside the planet's core. And a group of dreamers, quote-unquote, are summoned to seal him up again, including Tony Jones, the so-called final dreamer, summoned from planet Earth. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they were trying to do what Yu-Gi-Oh did, but failed miserably.
Yeah, and see, I think that was...
Or Pokemon. That
kind of cartoon was right on the brink when cartoons started to change.
Mm-hmm.
When the cartoons that we know and that we love started going off the air, and they started producing new cartoons for this new generation after us.
Mm-hmm.
That was in this time period. And it was the one that I never watched, so... Number 6. Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries. Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries was a reset of the famous Looney Tunes characters. Though Sylvester and Tweety remained Granny's pets, Granny suddenly became a world-famous globe-trotting detective. That's right, I remember this.
Mm-hmm. As she's walking around, even in the monologue in the beginning where she's hunched over and kind of looking at footprints as she's
That's right.
walking along.
They're magnifying glass.
Yeah.
Solving crimes all across the world. The antagonistic relationship between Sylvester and Tweety remained, but relatively toned down as the two spent more time trying to help Granny solve mysteries rather than Sylvester trying to eat Tweety. Tweety?
Mm-hmm.
While Tweety tries his best to escape. Yeah, see, read that Tweety tries his best. Tweety was a male, not a female. I've had arguments before.
Isn't Winnie the Pooh also a girl?
Yes, Winnie the Pooh is female.
Yeah, that blew my mind. Yeah.
Holy crap.
I'm still coming to terms with Tweety, but,
Yeah. It's like you just get over Tweety, you're like, oh man, not Winnie the Pooh too.
And then, what was the other one? Sonic and Knuckles? Or no, Tails. That's who it was. Tails was a girl.
Tails is female?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because there was one episode of speaking of cartoons, the Sonic cartoon.
Yeah.
Where Sonic and Tails were going along, and then Tails said with all the other girls, or they're like, come on, Tails, let's go, let's us girls leave, or something to that effect.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, another one. Nermal from Garfield. Garfield and Friends. Nermal's a boy.
Nuh-uh.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
The purple looking
yes.
cat? Oh, wow.
Nermal is a boy.
Man. Destroying childhoods right here.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to listen during the week, and you're going to hear little explosions happening.
Mm-hmm.
Just
You're
all
like,
over the place.
Is it the 4th of July?
Yeah.
No. Troy and AJ just was dropping bombs left and right.
World War G's blowing minds.
Yeah.
Number 5, Detention. Created by Bob Ducetti, Detention is probably one of the most straightforward cartoons on the list. It simply follows a group of 8 preteen students attending their local campus, Benedict Arnold Middle School, who, despite despite their best attempts at avoiding trouble, constantly find themselves landing in detention. Or at least, that's what they usually claimed, although their theme song seemed to indicate otherwise with the lyrics, "As long as we're in school, we're gonna get in trouble." I don't remember that show at all.
Yeah, it vaguely looks familiar, but once again, it's one of those cartoons that, the new generation of cartoons.
And maybe it's during the time where you and I were on our religious walkabouts that they came on.
Yeah.
So we just completely missed it. Holy crap. I remember this show. Number 4, Road Rovers.
Yeah.
It all came flooding back to me.
Right then and there.
Like that Celine Dion song. It's all coming back to me now. Another of Kids WB's older shows, Road Rovers, was the creation of Tom Ruger and Jeff Gordon. I wonder if it was a NASCAR driver. Probably not. The show was about the Road Rovers, a group of dogs dubbed Cano Sapiens that gained the ability to transform into humanoid forms and speak after being experimented on by the super scientist Professor William F. Shepard to save the world by fighting monstrous dog mutations. I remember watching that show and remember thinking, I should like this more than I do.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of another cartoon, but that Doberman Pinscher they had on there, did he have an Austrian accent? Or am I thinking of another cartoon?
I can't remember to save my life.
I may be thinking Animaniacs. Or Tiny Toons. One of the two. One of them had a Doberman that spoke like Arnold Schwarzenegger. But I don't know. I digress. Number 3, Johnny Test.
I do remember this one quite a bit.
Johnny Test was not like Dexter's Lab, was a lot like Dexter's Lab, if the sister was the scientist and the brother was as much of a walking, talking self-destruct button as he was a tester of the inventions. The main character was a hyperactive 11-year-old named Johnny Test, who often helps his twin sisters, Susan, and Mary with their experiments in exchange for their help with his own adventures, and avoiding as much school and homework as humanly possible. That's right, it was kind of the WB version of Dexter's Lab.
It was. A lot of these, you see the similarities, They didn't stray too far from a formula that works.
No, they didn't really hide it on that one, because his sisters were redheads with glasses and always wore trench coats or white lab coats.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. Number 2, something I've never heard of. Wanehead.
Not even sure what that is.
Produced by Warner Brothers Animation and Nelvana, Wanehead was a series created by actor-comedian Damon Wayans. Okay, so was it Wanehead? Wayne? Whatever. It followed a young boy named Damie Wayne, fart noise, a young boy who lived in an underprivileged neighborhood and had a club foot. What? Something of a 90s version of Fat Albert. There wasn't much to the series. Damie just hung out with his friends and three-legged dog tripod.
Oh, jeez.
That sounds awful. And that's kind of been a trend that happens every now and again. You get a comedian who creates a cartoon like loosely based on their life.
Mm-hmm.
Like Fat Albert was based on Bill Cosby's life. Well, Had to be edited.
The early years of
Yeah.
Bill Cosby.
He also had another show called Little Bill that came on Nick Jr.
Yeah.
Louis C.K. had no, not Louis C.K.
Tosh.0 had one.
Tosh.0 had one.
The Brinkleberry.
What's his name? Bill, the redheaded dude from Boston. What is his name? I can't remember. Anyway, he had or has one. Yeah.
They're like, hey, my comic stand-up abilities would translate really well into a cartoon.
Louis Anderson. He had a cartoon.
Yes.
Life with Louis.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Oh, what? Bobby's World.
Bobby's World.
Yeah.
Yeah, Howie Mandel.
Uh-huh.
Interesting. I feel like we're on a game show. Like name TV shows that were based on lives of stand-up comedians.
For 300.
Number 1. Holy cow, I completely forgot about this. Lunatics Unleashed. Let me tell you about this show. It is freaking weird. It's baffling that Lunatics Unleashed exists at all. It's hard to imagine how rough the pitch meeting for a new Looney Tunes show had to be before someone to come up with the idea of descendants of the original Looney Tunes characters in the year 20,000 AD, wait for it, get superpowers to protect their future from destruction in an action comedy that's half Looney Tunes, half Power Rangers parody. Let me continue. Still, that's exactly what happened. Lunatics is set in a city planet of Acmetropolis, which gets hit by a meteor.
They're like stealing from everybody.
Yeah, which gets hit by a meteor that knocks it off its axis, drastically altering the planet and changing the genetic codes of many of the people living on the planet. After the meteor strike, an alien named Zadavia collects a group of teens that have gained superpowers from the accident and uses them to protect Acmetropolis from further harm. Sadly, this series only ran 2 seasons and 26 episodes before being canceled. Do yourselves a favor, people who are listening to this, go look up pictures of Lunatics Unleashed.
I guarantee you'll remember it.
Oh, yeah, you'll remember it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you're around our age, you'll remember it. And you'll think, what is this, 1? And 2, why did I watch it?
Yeah.
Because I did. I watched this.
And was that one of those ones where you're like, I should like this more than I do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they had descendants of Daffy Duck, Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote, Bugs Bunny,
Tasmanian
Lola.
Devil. Yeah.
This was around Space Jam time, and Tasmanian Devil. It's weird. It's just as weird as it sounds. Yeah. Okay.
Well, there you have it.
Yes. Let's take a break. And when we come back, we got some news stories.
Lord of the Rings.
J.K. Simmons.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Stranger Things. And
Call of Duty. Man, much, much more.
a lot of other stuff. So we'll be back right after this.
Are you feeling nostalgic about your music listening needs?
Do you like the tonal quality that only a record can provide?
Then go check out Lavender Vinyl, located at 123 25th Street, Ogden, Utah.
Yeah, go talk to Kylie or Blake. They have a large selection of new and used records. They will also buy your old records, maybe the ones that are just sitting up there in the attic, gathering dust. And if you can't find anything, they'll be more than happy to pre-order it for you. Now, you can always find them at lavendervinyl@gmail.com. You can also check out their website, lavendervinyl.com, or give them a call on the phone, like a normal person, at 385-240-0336.
Be sure to tell them that World War G sent you. Now back to the episode.
And we're back.
Speaking of things that are near and dear to our hearts, just this announcement was just made today. Amazon officially signs a multi-season deal with Warner Brothers to create a television series based on Lord of the Rings for Amazon Prime streaming services. The announcement was officially made today, following rumors and talks going on taking place between the two companies last week. The television adaptation of J.R. Tolkien's seminal fantasy novels will be produced by Amazon Studios in cooperation with Tolkien Estate, because they gotta keep it true.
Sure.
And Trust, Harper & Cole, the New Line Cinema, a division of Warner Brothers Entertainment. The new series will take place in the world of Middle-earth, but will explore storylines that took place before the events of Tolkien's first Lord of the Rings novel, The Fellowship of the Ring. The deal also includes possible spin-offs from the first series. And it has the potential to be something like awesome. I'm almost envisioning and picturing something to the effect of Game of Thrones-esque.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, that would make sense.
I really hope that they introduce Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, that's right. He was missing from the movies.
Yeah.
I guess there's a big old universe there that they can
kind of explore. And
yeah, definitely pull from.
The only problem that they're going to run into is they got to kind of keep it true to all of the other Tolkien stuff and everything that we've already come to know. And they're going to have they're going to be hard pressed to get away from the movies.
Right.
Right? And you've got like all these huge big name stars, and then now you've got these guys that you're not familiar with.
Yeah.
And trying to come up with like stories, because like as soon as they introduce the fact that, hey, there's all this like evil stuff going on around us, it's going to be kind of hard pressed for them to kind of keep it grounded. It's
going to be hard, yeah. Like you were saying, to get out of the shadow of the movies and the characters that people know and love, and you know, you got to have some really compelling characters and some really compelling storylines to draw people in and make this a success, because those that don't really, you know, aren't really in the know are going to be expecting more of the same.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to be expecting elves and orcs and hobbits and wizards and that sort of thing. And
with all of those to pick and choose from, who do you actually follow? I mean, I know you can have a couple of different other storylines going on, but who do you follow? Like a ranger?
Yeah, or I don't know, maybe. I mean, you could do it like a Game of Thrones where you're following different houses. You know, like you could have, you know, a family of like men.
Yes.
Or another one of elves, another one of dwarves, another one, you know, hobbits. Have them kind of tied all together. You know, I mean, you could do it that way.
But it's leading up to what eventually? The first book?
The first rise of Sauron, I suppose.
Okay.
You know
what I mean? I do like these shows where you actually kind of, it's alluding to something bigger that's going to be taking place. It's kind of like the end all. You know, you've got like even Gotham, even though this is a horrible example, you know that once he becomes Batman, that's kind of where the series ends. You know, you've got a stopping point in mind. I guess their stopping point is the first book. I mean, that would be the logical conclusion in my mind, is kind of the first rise of Sauron. Because that's when, you know, that's where the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit picks up. Yeah. Is right there. You know, that's... But if you have anything else that's like huge and big, and why didn't any of these other guys get involved? Why wasn't Gandalf in the know? Well, that's what happens when you do these prequel stories. Right? You know, you're like, of course he's going to be following this, and he was an intricate part in these adventures. Why wouldn't he have like played a role in these? Unless they did a young Gandalf. That's true. I don't know. That could be the show, the Young Gandalf Adventures. Yeah.
I don't know.
Huh. Who knows? I mean, I'll be interested to see where it goes. And it's kind of crazy that they've already signed off on a couple of seasons.
Yeah, I must have a lot of faith in it.
Yeah.
Maybe they're hoping to get that Game of Thrones audience, you know.
Speaking of Amazon Prime, though,
Yes.
do yourself a favor if you haven't already seen it. Check out The Tick. It's
pretty good.
Hilarious. Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah.
I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah. It's
'Cause
going to be like years down the road, it's going to be, oh yeah, they did do a Tick.
We'll be doing a podcast about, 15 shows on Amazon Prime that you forgot about. Like, oh yeah, The Tick. Oh, that was good. Yeah, because a lot of the times I'll be sitting here and be like, I need something new to watch, and I always forget about The Tick. All right. So we know that Justice League is coming out very soon.
Yes.
Next week. And
this week, on Thursday.
oh, that's right, this week.
Yeah.
Oh, even better. Well, maybe. Let's see how it goes. Early reviews are positive. So, and we know that J.K. Simmons is in it as Commissioner Gordon. What in the world? I'm having random videos play. Mute that. Okay. J.K. Simmons had no idea who Zack Snyder was before audition.
Seriously?
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
When it came, or excuse me, when they wrote that weird. When it summed to comic book fans, probably when it comes to comic book fans, Justice League director Zack Snyder is a household name. For good and evil.
Yeah.
But J.K. Simmons, who's J. Jonah Jameson in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films, is a fan favorite, and is now playing Commissioner Gordon in Snyder's Justice League, had no idea who the director was before his DCEU audition. He said, I don't know anything about show business. Simmons quipped in an interview with Entertainment Tonight, my agent called and said, Zack Snyder wants to meet with you. And I was like, awesome. Who's that? It's my J.K. Simmons impression for you.
Yeah, that's pretty spot on.
Thank you. And he was like, he's like one of the biggest directors. Not even like, this is what it's about. Just go meet. So apparently J.K. Simmons talks like a teenage girl. Despite his lack of familiarity with Snyder's work, Simmons said that he and the director hit it off because he's a great guy, quote unquote. We were several minutes into the meeting when I kind of saw this quizzical look, and he goes, you have no idea why you're here, do you? Simmons recalled. He said, Commissioner Gordon, I want you to play Commissioner Gordon. Simmons was excited about the role, but also...
He didn't know who Commissioner Gordon was either.
He's Batman. Who's Batman? Part of a comic book? What are comic books?
You're like, maybe you're not the right person for the job.
Are you mentally ill, JK?
Just kidding.
JK, ha ha ha. Simmons was excited about the role, but also found it immediately kind of intimidating. Not only because of how iconic Commissioner Gordon is in the Batman universe, but because he'd also have big shoes to fill. The actor who famously portrayed the character before him was Gary Oldman in the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight films. However, Simmons now wants to continue to play the character for as long as he can.
Oh, of course.
It was great to get my feet wet in the first Justice League, he said, hoping there will be more. That's the plan. Yeah, I'm sure there was other perks too. Big old fat paycheck.
Yeah.
You know,
oh, man.
Yeah, you sign up for those superhero films and they do well, you are set.
Oh, yeah, for life.
For life. Yep.
Yeah.
Think Robert Downey Jr. ever has to work again? No!
Yeah. No, he's set.
Yeah, he's good.
Speaking of celebrities, Stranger Things actor Finn Wolfhard recently drew ire with a few vocal fans after he failed to say hello to a crowd waiting for him outside of a hotel. In a video posted and later deleted by fans watching Wolfhard's appearance, he can be seen walking into the building without acknowledging those waiting. A fan can be heard calling him rude in the video, and later a tweet deemed him heartless. Oh, jeez. Ooh.
Heartless
Shots
Wolfhard.
fired right there.
Heartless Wolfhard.
Oh, man. That's going to catch on, you know.
Hashtag Heartless Wolfhard.
There's a reoccurring harmful notion that actors are obligated to engage with fans at all times and in all ways the fans want, since they owe the fans for making them famous. Young actors Shannon Purser, Barb from Stranger Things, and Sophie Turner, Sansa from Game of Thrones, disputes that idea online, posting out that children actors need breaks too, and should be allowed space. No actor is under any obligation to stop for anyone, Purser said. More recently, Wolfhard addressed the event on his Twitter account, and this is his actual tweet here. He's just like, "Why even have to tweet that I don't know? Anyone who calls themselves a fan and actually goes after someone for literally acting and doing their job is ridiculous. Think before you type, boy."
Boy!
Yeah. B-O-I.
He's definitely a teenage kid, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Wolfhard's exasperation is understandable. Fans should be embarrassed at publicly attacking someone and needing correction from a 14-year-old. But fan expectations and entitlement are commonplace, and celebrities are starting to get more comfortable with vocalizing resistance. Okay, and then they go on to talk about like other celebrities that have had similar encounters, but I don't really want to talk about Justin Bieber. Like, you can...
No thanks.
Yeah, pass.
Yeah.
Social media and the internet make it even easier to keep track of stars. Personal pictures, tweets, and videos from celebrities account and can help fans feel connected to their favorite creators and celebrities. And that's kind of like that they're almost feeling like the fans are kind of feeling, hey, I know these people, you know, I can relate to them. I think that we'd get along if we ever met or something. Yeah. And then it gets kind of toxic because they take it, you know, to the extreme where they're like yelling out, and these people, I mean, they're doing their job, and I don't know, where do you fit on this line here, Troy? Like,
well, first of all, I saw this whole thing go down. I wasn't
the actual
there.
Tweet kind of.
Yeah, but I was on Twitter when this thing was happening. And
a lot of the times, you know, you just hear about, oh, they had this like Twitter feud going back and forth, but like you were actually
I saw
in the midst of it.
Yeah, I was following it. And I'm of several minds about this. One, you know, people tend to see celebrities, especially someone who's on, say, television, stuff like that, and they tend to think they have some sort of ownership over them. Mm-hmm. They don't. You know, they're people doing a job. That's all it is. Right. The only difference between their job and yours is that their job is being filmed.
And they're making a hell of a lot more money.
A lot more money than you. Yes. And so, like you were saying, people think that they know these people. Mm-hmm. And so they try to, you know, in some ways, they think if you say hi to somebody and they're kind of rude to you, they think, well, how could they do this to me? Yeah. You know, we have this history. I know them, you know. I mean, it's weird.
It's reminiscent of that song by Eminem, Stan.
Yes.
Right? Where it becomes unhealthy.
Yeah. or the Stephen King book Misery.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, the same type. Those crazy type of fans are out there.
Oh, they are.
Now, on the other hand, it is the fans who make an actor famous.
Right.
Right? If the fans didn't watch, if there weren't ratings, then they wouldn't be famous. They wouldn't have a job. They wouldn't have a career.
So how do you stay? Because, okay, if you were to take 1,000 people, you know, here in the streets of Ogden and give them so much money, you're going to get the extremes of every type of people, you know? You're going to get these flawed individuals that are still trying to make it, you know, in the world. But how do you kind of have them stay humble? You know, okay, so if you were a celebrity, you know, like one day eventually you and I, you know, we're going to become famous.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know.
So how do you,
It's inevitable.
when you're going out to dinner or something, you know, do you still take the time? You just know that, you know, if you're trying to get from point A to point B, that you're going to be stopped constantly on the, you know, on the daily?
There comes a point when, let's say you're Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks famous.
Okay.
Right? One of the biggest movie stars in the world. There comes a point where you got to know that if you go out, you're going to get stopped. That's just part of the job. That's part of the territory.
Yeah.
Now, I watch celebrities and follow this stuff actually fairly closely for my, you know, YouTube series.
Yeah.
And there are celebrities who take time to say hi to everyone. Tom Hanks is one of those. He will say hi to anyone and talk with them and chat with them, take a picture with them, you know, sign an autograph.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith is another one. You know, I listen to several of his podcasts and he says, you know what? The fans, they are my boss. Without them, there is no me. So he will always stop and talk to somebody and shake a hand and that sort of thing. But then there are these other celebrities, say like a Kardashian, who, or a Kanye West, or Justin Bieber, as we were talking about, who don't have the time of day for their fans.
Right.
Which is ridiculous. Now, at the same time, old Finn here is 14 years old.
Right.
I mean, think back when you were 14 and how awkward and how terrible of a time that is.
Right. And he'd already, like, not too long ago, not much prior before this, he was, there was that one, what was there? I can't even remember the name. She was like an actress or a model or something that said, hey, once you hit 18, hit me up.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
I
you see that?
I did.
I don't know. They're getting like sexualized.
Yeah.
You know, and as these iconic characters from a TV show that.
And it's gross because they're kids.
They're kids. Yeah. And they want to have these, like, they want to be kids still.
And I don't know if I could have handled that when I was 14.
Oh,
all of a sudden being in the biggest horror movie of all time. You know, that's got to be really difficult. And just, I mean, you're constantly being hounded by people for autographs and pictures and on and on and on. You're going on press tours. You're doing interview after interview after interview. And so
you can only be nice for so long. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just like, all right, I just want to like go have dinner and just be a kid.
In this case, you know, I saw the video and he did kind of gesture a little bit. He didn't completely ignore the guy.
Yeah, like, oh, hey, kind of
just
like
kind
nod
of
the head.
Yeah.
You know?
That sort of thing. He did acknowledge him, but, you know, he didn't stop and talk. He was just walked into his hotel and that was that. And, you know, this guy who you could tell is a star, I want to say what I actually want to say, hugger.
Yeah.
To make it the PG version. You know, he's one of these guys that follow celebrities and
TMZ type guys.
Exactly. And because Finn didn't, you know, stop and say hi, and all of a sudden he's like, I can't believe this. How dare he? Blah 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 blah. You know, what kind of world is this when a 14-year-old kid celebrity won't even say hi to the fans that made him popular and stuff like that? It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, give the kid a break.
Right?
So, I don't know. I can't imagine what those kids are going through right now. That's gotta be...
It's no wonder that a lot of them turn to drugs.
Yeah, right?
And abusing, like, other, alcohol and all sorts of other stuff.
Yeah. Speaking of an actor who's been famous since childhood, Leonardo DiCaprio to play America's most famously prolific serial killer for Martin Scorsese.
Oh, he has, like, the Joker? He has signed on, for sure.
No. This is a real serial killer.
Oh, I gotcha.
Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy.
The Joker's not real?
Sorry.
Mind blown again.
I know. We're just melting minds all over the place. Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, and Jeffrey Dahmer are all notorious names in America's history. But if it gets gruesome murder sprees and style you want, then the U.S. serial killer for you is H.H. Holmes, the chilling subject of Eric Larson's best-selling 2003 book, The Devil in the White City: Murder, Magic, and Madness at the Fair That Changed America. Variety reports that Leonardo DiCaprio will play Holmes for Martin Scorsese in the long-awaited adaptation of the popular book. This will be their sixth collaboration after The Wolf of Wall Street, Gangs of New York, The Aviator, The Departed, and Shutter Island. According to Variety, the project has been in development for more than a decade. Now, you ask yourself, who is H.H. Holmes? H.H. Holmes admitted to killing 27 women in the time surrounding the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago, but is widely believed to have dispatched closer to 200 victims. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Holmes built himself the perfect murdering machine in the shape of a diabolical hotel since nicknamed the Murder Castle. The structure had gas lines that fed into rooms, enormous furnaces, lime and acid pits, and large vaults where Holmes tortured, suffocated, and strangled his victims, all the while decked out in the natty attire of a well-to-do 19th century gentleman. If you thought Scorsese's Bill the Butcher was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet.
This has the potential to be awesome.
Now, it gets better. For a taste of some of the dialogue DiCaprio might get to chew over, here's a choice quote commonly attributed to Holmes. "Yes, I was born with the devil in me. I was born with the devil standing as my sponsor beside the bed where I was ushered into the world, and he has been with me since."
Ugh.
Yeah.
Pretty gnarly dude.
Yeah, so he is commonly referred to as America's first serial killer. So, that'll be interesting.
I'm no serial killer, but I could sure murder me a bowl of kicks right about now.
I mean, that's got Scorsese written all over it.
Oh, it does.
You know, a period piece about a murderer, violence, blood.
It kind of sounds a little bit and reminds me of Vincent Price and some of the horror films that he's done.
Yeah.
Kind of that old style, although also like Great Gatsby-esque.
With a little bit of Sweeney Todd thrown in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is right up like Leonardo DiCaprio's alley.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is a match made in heaven for all these guys, so...
Oh, for sure.
I'll definitely check it out.
So, speaking of killers, World War II.
There was a few killers there, yeah.
Yeah, just a few.
A few people died.
Activision announced that Call of Duty World War II sales have surpassed over 500 million during the first 3 days of launch, beating out highly anticipated Thor Ragnarok and Wonder Woman's opening weekend sales. Yeah. Activision also announced that Call of Duty World War II set a new record on the PS4 store. World War II is the best-selling digital full game by units sold on its first day of availability on PS4 store ever. Activision has also stated that Call of Duty, COD WW2 has sold more than 2 times the amount of copies at launch compared to Call of Duty Infinite Warfare launch last year. Call of Duty launch has resulted in the highest total connected users on current generation consoles and PC in Call of Duty history. Activision also says, "We challenged our players to get out there and get their squads back together, and they answered the call with the highest number of players." He kind of like goes back over this same thing, but like then they go on to say our 500 million opening weekend has been bigger than Thor Ragnarok in its opening weekend, along with Wonder Woman combined. We're contributing its support to viewers like you.
Now, that's not quite a fair comparison.
Especially when the game costs, 6 to 10 times more?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you can't compare a $60 game that has, 20, 30 copies in a store compared to a movie that the ticket is, anywhere from $6 to $10.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, even in California, it's closer to like 15 to 20.
Right.
But, yeah.
But still,
they're kind of comparing apples to oranges. I think what they're trying to do is like, hey guys, I know you were off the wagon on like helping pay for Infinite Warfare, but would you mind coming back? Like, look, we've done something good here.
Yeah, and I mean, this game is all the guys at my work have been talking about.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they will not shut up about it.
To me, the only problem that I have with it is the guns are so dang big and they take up the majority of your screen. You hold that rifle.
It's like Battlefield 1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You hold it up to your, eye to look at it. Like, I know it's realistic and all, but half the screen is just kind of black.
Yeah.
That's the same reason why I don't like hunting rifles or scopes and guns majority of the time, is because you can't see your surroundings. You're just limited to just like, I don't know, a little bit.
Yeah.
But it has been getting pretty awesome reviews.
I've been going back and forth on getting it or not.
Maybe wait until Black Friday?
Yeah, maybe. I've never been a huge fan of the Call of Duty games. They seem like jock games, or bro games,
Yeah.
Where those are the games that a fraternity all sit down and play.
Like Halo, but for the next gen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I've always kind of avoided them, but I don't know. I mean, World War II might be fun.
Killing some Nazis. Yeah.
All right, let's take another break. When we come back, we're getting a little serious here. There's a whole bunch of crap been going on in Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
And we're gonna discuss that. So
get ready.
We'll be back right after this.
On the historic streets of Ogden, there are 2 kinds of people: readers and non-readers. Here's where you can find their stories.
Booked on 25th Street, located at 147 Historic 25th Street, Ogden, Utah, 84401.
Yeah, stop by and say hi to our friend Marcy. You can pick up a new or used book, or you can sell your own used books.
That's right, you can get 10% store credit on what they can sell the book for.
Stop in and say hi, or call them at 801-529-7720. You can find them on Facebook at facebook.com/bookedon25th, or you can email them at marcy@bookedon25th.com, or visit their website, bookedon25th.com.
Be sure to tell them that World War G sent you. Now back to the episode.
And we're back. Okay. So, like I said before, we're going to get a little a little bit more serious than we usually do.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of crap happening in Hollywood, a lot of things coming to light.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a couple stories about such crappy things.
But it's worth noting because it affects not only like so many people and whatnot, but entertainment.
Yeah,
you know? And it kind of puts a damper on some of these other things.
Yeah. X-Men: The Last Stand star Ellen Page is alleging director Brett Ratner outed her as gay in a particularly vile way. During the film's production, it's a period there. This is just the latest in a string of recent allegations of highly inappropriate conduct against Ratner. Page played the mutant Kitty Pryde in 2 X-Men films. The first being X-Men: The Last Stand, which was the 3rd film in the series. Ratner was a last-minute replacement for Bryan Singer, director of the first 2 X-Men films, who abruptly departed to direct Superman Returns. While his films have generally been reliable box office performers, rumblings of his inappropriate behavior have been around for years. In the wake of the Harvey Weinstein scandal, several women, including actress Natasha Henstridge and Olivia Munn, publicly accused Ratner of sexual misconduct. Page is the latest high-profile actress to detail Ratner's abuse. In a lengthy Facebook post, Page details how Ratner made highly inappropriate comments to her about her sexuality. You can read the post in full below. So this is the post. I'll just read a little bit of it here. Kind of have to censor it too, just a bit.
Yeah.
So this is what Page says that Ratner said to her. You should F her to make her realize she's gay. He said this about me during a cast and crew meet and greet before we began filming X-Men: The Last Stand. I was 18 years old. He looked at a woman standing next to me, 10 years my senior, pointed to me, and said, you should F her to make her realize she's gay.
Oh, jeez.
He was the film's director, Brett Ratner. So that's just the first paragraph.
Yeah.
Of her post. Yeah. And she goes on in detail about it, and you can, it's out there, you can read it for yourself. But Brett's not the only one.
No, not at all. Do you mind if I get through this one and then we'll just kind of talk in whole?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For years, rumors of sexual harassment have swirled around comedian Louis C.K. Now 5 women have come forward accusing him of sexual misconduct, as reported at the New York Times. Their accounts are remarkably similar, involving incidents where Louis Starr either asked if he could pleasure himself in front of them, or simply did so without their consent. Although his agent said that he would decline to comment, Louis C.K. previously brushed off rumors of sexual misconduct, telling Vulture in 2016, I don't care about that, that's nothing, that's not real. According to 5 women who have come forward at the Times, however, it was very real. And they're finally found a way to make this known. The accusations follow a massive wave of sexual misconduct allegations published at Times and elsewhere, aimed at prominent men like Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, Roy Price, Ben Affleck, and even former President George H.W. Bush. Shortly before the publication of this article, Louis C.K. pulled out, phrasing, of an appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and the New York City premiere of his new film, I Love You, Daddy, was canceled hours before it was scheduled to begin. The cancellation was attributed to, air quotes, unexpected circumstances, but those observing the aftermath of Harvey Weinstein revelation have been vocally expecting this particular revelation for the past week. Louis C.K. wrote and directed this movie, I Love You, Daddy, and it's kind of interesting what the premise of it is. And he says, like, he stars as a television writer and producer whose teenage daughter is seduced by a predatory 68-year-old filmmaker, John Malkovich. And then it says that even the film itself dives into themes about, like, masturbation and other things. He even went on to talk on the radio, like this was back in 2007, and joking that he publicly exposed himself as a young man to an old man, and he didn't know why. Just because. Yeah. So there's been like a whole ton of these things coming to light.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's been all over the news lately. And it kind of sucks because a lot of these people, they're people that you've been entertained by over the years or you find funny. Louis C.K. was one of my favorite stand-up comedians. I thought he was hilarious, but I don't understand that mentality. I don't understand
thinking you're above common decency.
Yeah, like how do you even get to that place where you think that you can just invite two women up to your, and this was Louis C.K., invite two women up to your room, and say, hey, do you mind if I pull my penis out? Yeah. And then proceeds to do so. And then just sits there and masturbates in front of them? I mean, what? Yeah. I mean, not only is that incredibly terrible. Yeah. But it's not even a thing that anybody should do.
It really makes you wonder, what the hell were they thinking?
Yeah. Like what goes through a person's mind? How do you get to that point where you think you can just do that and be fine?
That, and even like this whole Brett Ratner thing, or what's his bucket, from House of Cards?
Kevin
Spacey. That was crazy. Yeah. They canceled the whole entire show. There is talks that they might continue it, but the only way that they could really do that is perhaps his wife, because he breaks the fourth wall and kind of talks in front. I mean, the show is based around his character.
Right, yeah. Yeah,
But even still, it puts a bad light on Hollywood in general.
It does.
Right?
Yeah.
It makes you second guess all these other people, like these people and these celebrities. They're not really who they proclaim to be.
And Hollywood is now, they're stepping up and they're changing things. In Kevin Spacey's case, he was going to appear in the movie that's coming out in December called All the Money in the World, where he plays Getty, anyway, huge rich oil tycoon. And what they've done is taken the actor Christopher Plummer, brought him in, and they are going to superimpose his face on Kevin Spacey.
Seriously?
Throughout the entire film.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they're not pushing back the release. It's still going to be released next month. But they are, yeah. And so, good for them for stepping up and Hollywood for stepping up and saying, okay, this is clearly a problem. It's time to change this.
A lot of it could, especially in Hollywood back in the day, a lot of that could be said, that's kind of the way it was.
Oh, yeah.
You've heard so many countless stories of these older celebrities. They're just like, it was a different time,
Yeah. Going up to a woman is like, hey there, sugar tits, stuff like that. I mean, it's...
You would think that you couldn't get away with that, but for this guy here, Brett Ratner, just going up and saying like, "Hey, you should F her to find out if you are or not,"
and that he just thought that was just funny, because I've seen interviews with Brett Ratner, and he seems like kind of a frat boy, kind of a bro, kind of
right,
and I'm sure he just thought that was so hilarious. Oh man. And you're right. I mean, for the longest time in Hollywood, that's kind of how things
that was the mentality
were done.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, things are changing and people are realizing that no, that this has to stop. This isn't how things should be.
This isn't
anymore.
Acceptable.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it's taken all this time and there's been so many victims of these people, and it should have been stopped a long time ago.
So how would they best prevent this? Like the NFL has done a lot of preventative measures for making the game safer, air quotes safer.
Yeah.
How do they make the film industry safer? Do they have like a HR department on that you're required to,
I don't know.
To have on your staff?
I think what it's going to take is what they're doing. Cutting
saying, hey,
ties.
This isn't acceptable. Hey,
Yeah.
if you do this, you're going to be like blackballed.
Yeah. Cutting ties, ending careers, changing their faces in movies, just having a zero tolerance for even rumors, basically. And just that is going to quickly, I think, hopefully,
eradicate a lot
of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because your career could be done. Like Louis C.K. and Kevin Spacey, chances are...
I'm not seeing them coming back from this.
Their careers are done.
Mm-hmm.
And,
at least in front of the camera.
Yeah. And I think a lot of actors are all of a sudden, or, heads of studios and everything, all of a sudden are taking notice to be like, oh, this is serious.
Yeah.
This is real. This isn't just some joke. This isn't something that's funny anymore. People are taking this seriously, and we need to be careful.
So, along that line, I guess some of the best improv stuff, we were watching even like videos like while we were waiting for other stuff to edit here.
Yeah.
We were watching videos just kind of about improv and like these Leonardo DiCaprio, improving on Wolf of Wall Street and Matthew McConaughey and some of those scenes. Do you think also that could impede comedy or them, trying to push it as far as they possibly can when they're worried about like, hey, somebody's going to take offense to this and it's going to be taken the wrong way and I could lose my job and lose my career.
Right.
Not that I want to like play that go down that road just because I think that they should know where the line is.
Yeah. And I think if as far as comedy goes, or improv or something like that, I think to some degree that might be acceptable because it's a performance.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're in front of the camera, it's a performance. It's not real. And if
they don't actually mean what they say, but
exactly.
Then you get somebody like Louis C.K., who actually has done those things that he's saying that he's,
Yeah.
And
What it might do, and this may be a good or bad thing, depending on whose side or what side you come down on, is there's going to be probably a lot less female nudity in films and TV shows at following all this.
Really?
Because, yeah, I think it's going to be a lot more difficult for a director or producer to ask an actress, like, hey, we need you to be naked in this scene.
Right.
Or we need you to be topless or that sort of thing. I don't think you're going to see that anymore.
Really?
Yeah, or very rarely, because, I think a lot of the times, actresses, and it sucks to say, but a lot of times actresses would think, this is something I have to do.
Right.
The director wants me to take off all my clothes, so I guess I have to do it.
Or perhaps it could just be in the front, almost as a disclaimer in the beginning, hey, this movie involves nudity.
Yeah. Yeah, and
if they're not just after you've already started filming and then oh, hey, by the way, it's got this scene in here, and we're already halfway filming and we've already paid you money, so do it.
Which has happened.
Oh, yeah.
Which has happened.
Sure.
So, yeah, I think they're going to be a lot more careful about it. If there is a scene, maybe like a sex scene or something like that, I think it's going to be more, would you mind? Is it okay? Tasteful. Yeah, is it okay if you're not clothed in this, or that sort of thing. But yeah, I think the whole landscape, of Hollywood is going to change after this. Mm-hmm. For the better.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But before that, we're going to see probably a lot more well-respected actors, directors, heads of studios that are going to be taken down by this.
Yes, absolutely. Especially by some credible sources. The New York Times was reporting on these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they get involved, I at least would hope and think that they do their, homework.
Right.
It's not hey, TMZ says this.
Right, right.
Or these women, all these different allegations.
No, yeah, you can usually trust the New York Times.
Okay.
Unless you're Donald Trump, of course.
Fake news. No, but if we had to guess, how about we play this, Troy?
Okay.
A couple of celebrities that we think won't be affected by this at all. That haven't done it, because I never would have guessed Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Louis C.K., I thought,
So a couple, actors that we know will not be
tainted by this whole thing.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah?
Yeah. I have to have faith that Tom Hanks is a good person. It is detrimental to me.
Yeah.
In my life.
Yeah.
That Tom Hanks be a good, decent person.
I want to say the same thing about Matthew McConaughey for myself. Yeah. I need to believe that, at the heart of everything, that he's a decent person.
Yeah. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
I think he's another one.
That even though he does, some crazy, over-the-top roles, he seems, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'm thinking of all these celebrities that haven't done many sex scenes.
Yeah. Well, let's face it. Leonardo DiCaprio doesn't have to, stoop to that level if he wants to get a woman.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have to try too hard. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't have to pull a Louis C.K. and he's just like, hey, I'm
pull a Louis C.K.
Yeah. That's what we should call it now, pulling a Louis C.K. He's be like, hey, I'm Leonardo DiCaprio, and that probably sealed the deal right there.
Man. A name that could seal the deal. Jeez. Any other celebrity? What about women celebrities? Because, we haven't heard that many allegations, but...
I don't think... it may happen. I don't think it's as prevalent, though.
Right.
Your Sandra Bullock.
Well, Martha Stewart.
Martha
right?
Stewart, yeah.
You never would have guessed?
But yeah, Julia Roberts or Sandra Bullock, or even the younger celebrities that are coming up now, like Ellen Page and I don't
Selena
think
Gomez.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna. It will really surprise me if we hear allegations coming towards actresses, coming towards females. That will really surprise me.
Yeah. Well, their interns are like, hey, she made me do this.
Yeah. Although, now that you mention it, I have heard stories of bodyguards of certain actresses that, they, when they're at their house, they're fine just walking around nude and they don't care if the bodyguard's around. I think it was like either Britney Spears or Jennifer Aniston, one of the two.
Yeah.
That did that, and the bodyguard was really uncomfortable with it. But at the same time, you can't help but think, like, really?
Yeah.
You were uncomfortable with that? And it's bad to think that way. I know.
As a guy, you're just like, okay, wait, you were uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Or like, she forced herself on me. Like,
yeah.
Do you see how hot she is?
Yeah.
Like,
and it's a terrible mindset to think that way,
is.
but you can't help but think that.
Right.
And so that's why I would be surprised if we hear any allegations about actresses.
More embezzlement or like any type of other illegal things.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. The sexual misconduct, I don't think we're going to hear much, but
who knows? This is the crazy world that we live in.
It's true. We are in the darkest timeline right now.
Stranger things.
We are in the upside down.
We are.
All right. So let's take our final break. Hopefully we haven't bummed you guys out too much. And when we come back, though, we do have a couple reviews.
And we'll be talking Stranger Things.
Yes, we will. And so we'll be back right after this.
Thanks, Troy. Hi, everybody. This is Sean Ray.
And John Irons.
And we're the hosts of Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast. We're a show that has a little bit of everything.
Yeah, we talk about movies and TV and cartoons, entertainment news, and every show has a different theme.
That's right. We might discuss anything from our favorite bad movies to who would win in a fight between C-3PO and the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. That was episode 41, a classic. You can download that episode and all of our other episodes on iTunes and Stitcher. We're on Podcast Addict and, of course, on our website, cosmicpotato.com.
It's special guests and movie news and geeky nerddom and nerdy geekery and lightsabers and Time Lords and Ninja Turtles all the way down. So check out Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast.
And we're back. All right. So I saw a movie on Saturday.
Yes, a remake.
Yes.
Based off of a book.
Yeah, I was going to say a remake of a movie based on a book. Murder on the Orient Express. Now, I had never read the book. I'd never seen the other movie. So I went into this completely blind.
Not knowing who's who?
Mm-mm.
So it really was a guessing game for you.
Not knowing who done it.
Yeah.
And I like movies where it is kind of a mystery. I like movies
as long as it's really well done to where you actually have a chance of guessing.
Yeah.
I hate the ones where they're just like, aha, it was this person that we've never seen or we saw for like 2 seconds.
Yeah. No, it doesn't do that.
Okay.
But I also like movies that take place in one area, and this one does. It just takes place on the train.
Kind of like a Hateful Eight?
Yeah.
Okay.
It kind of feels like a play almost in that way.
You're confined to a certain area and you have to work within that space.
Yeah. So this is a movie based on Agatha Christie's book, Murder on the Orient Express. And it stars Kenneth Branagh as Hercule Poirot. He is French. And it's also directed by him. And it has an all-star cast. It has Michelle Pfeiffer, Josh Gad, Johnny Depp, Daisy Ridley. There was a lot of people. Oh, Willem Dafoe. Who else was in there? Anyway, a lot of really well-known people. And the plot is that there are 12 people on this kind of a private train. A train that you can only ride on if you're very wealthy. or kind of in the know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because they have like first class beds and the
food cart one.
Yeah. It's a very
your drinks.
Yeah, it's a very high class train. And so what happens is they're going along. They're heading to, I want to say Italy, I think. And while on the train, there is a murder. Now I'm not going to tell you who gets murdered, but there is a murder. And so it is up to Hercule Poirot to solve the murder. And he does this by questioning everybody one by one. And you see him, he does have scenes with everybody, which makes it really kind of interesting. And, then he obviously has to try to solve the murder. Now, what I liked about it is, like I said, I like movies like this. I enjoy a movie where it is very straightforward. You know what you're going to get. I also really like the cast. The cast is excellent. These are actors at the top of their game.
Right. They know what they're doing.
The thing I didn't like, though, is you don't get to spend a lot of time with the guests on the train. It's all about Kenneth Branagh, Hercule Poirot.
Right.
He is the main focus. You are basically going along with him on this whole journey. You don't diverge to anybody else. Which I guess is okay because, in a story like this, you don't want to have like scenes of secret meetings with people where you're like, oh, well, they did it. Okay, well, now who cares? So I guess in that way it's good, but at the same time, because they don't do that, you don't really get to care that much about these characters. So there's not really any high stakes.
Not really motivation to care. Okay.
Yeah, even when they reveal the motivation behind everything, you're still like, oh, I mean, I get it, but it's
right.
not that. I don't.
Did you guess who it
much.
was?
No.
Really?
No. Although, I mean, obviously, hindsight 2020, looking back on it, be like, oh well, if you pay attention to that part and this thing, you get it. But no, I didn't solve it.
And you don't get any type of conclusion where, as soon as pun intended, along for the ride, you don't get any of those moments where once you find out who the killer is, he's trying to escape, so you get jumping carts or anything crazy like
anything crazy like that. Because the train is stuck in an avalanche.
Okay.
They're stuck on the tracks, on this giant bridge, and so no one's getting off this train.
So they know for a fact that somebody on that train killed whomever.
Oh yeah. They even go as far as to say, everybody, the entire train was checked. We didn't, nobody got on or off,
Right.
Everybody's been accounted for, that sort of thing. And so, yeah, that is a little bit of a downfall there, but overall, the movie is, again, I've never read the book, but it seems pretty well adapted to the book, from what little I've heard.
Yeah.
It's very much an acting movie. There's not a lot of action. There's not a lot of, like you said, jumping from cart to cart or anything like that. It's very much, a class
I'm
in acting.
expecting kind of like, what's that one? Unstoppable.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Kind of Snowpiercer kind of a movie.
Nope, nothing like that. And I imagine the book is much of the same. You know, there's no big action scenes in it. But that's okay, because for a movie like this, you know, it makes it more intimate. It makes it more, you know, suspenseful.
Right.
It makes it a bit more claustrophobic because you're stuck on this train. It's not going anywhere. And so in that way, it's fine. It works.
So what are you giving this one?
Out of 5,
you're going to use the murder weapon, aren't you?
yeah, but I don't want to.
Otherwise, it might give something away.
Out of
5 trains?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, let's do this. Out of 5 hard-boiled eggs.
Okay.
It's kind of a funny scene there at the beginning. I'm giving it... You know, I do this rating a lot on movies, but that's usually where I fall.
2.5?
I'm at 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? It's right there in the middle. It's not the worst movie. Ooh. Stay. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but it's not the best. You know, it's just
in the middle.
It's in the middle. It's a filler movie.
It's on the tracks.
It's something that is worth a watch, though. Like I was telling you before, you don't have to see it on the big screen.
You could rent it and be fine.
You know, written in Redbox, Blackbearded, it's fine. There's nothing where you have to see it on the big screen or you're gonna miss something. No, it's no. So yeah, it's worth a watch. If you got time, go check it out.
Now, something you should be watching, and if you haven't already started watching, do yourself a favor.
How dare you?
How dare you? Indeed.
Why are you even listening to this if you haven't?
What the heck? I'm just going to throw the mic down and just storm out of the room. Stranger Things.
Yes.
We're already on season 2.
Yes.
And should we break it down? How are we going about this?
Yeah, we'll break down the plot synopsis here really quick. Here's the quick synopsis on IMDb. When a young boy... Nope. Disappears. Nope, sorry, that's from the first Stranger Things. Why can't I... Oh, well. I'll just go off of memory. Doesn't matter. So, if you remember season 1, Will disappeared. He was in the Upside Down. There were creatures. There were monsters. 11 had to go... She has powers, had to go get him out. Blah, blah, blah.
She went ahead and disappeared, which is kind of a worst kept secret. So, you know, it's like Superman.
You knew she was coming back.
Right?
Yeah.
You know that she's coming back.
And she does. And so...
Although sooner than, actually the brothers, had planned for. They'd actually wanted to wait until that final, dance. At the dance itself to have her revealed, but it was actually pretty nice where she showed up beforehand to take care of some business.
See, and I thought it would have been awesome if she didn't show up until the last episode.
Yeah.
Like when she, spoilers, came back to everybody, came back to the town.
Yeah.
And was taking out the demodogs.
Mm-hmm.
When she walks through the door, I think that should have been the first time you saw her. I think that would have been great. But that's just me.
Yeah.
So this takes place 1 year after the events of the first series. And, you know, the kids have started to move on with their lives.
Things have gotten a little bit more normal for the most part. Joyce has found herself a lover.
Yep, found herself a new man.
A safe choice.
Yes.
Bob,
played by Sean Astin, who is probably
one of the best things about the seasons.
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
He was a fantastic character.
And he didn't, they were kind of worried a little bit that he would steal the show, and in a sense he did, but at the same time it really worked and fit.
Yeah.
You know? It was just like the Goonies have grown up.
Yeah. And I love the fact that when everything started to go down, he just kind of went along with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was like, when they went underground into that whole system, he's like,
oh, this is what Will saw.
We're in Will's map, right? We're in his map.
Okay, That kind of bugged the heck out of me, though, because Joyce, all she had to do was take a second and just say yes.
Yeah.
But so much of this season is lack of communication, that if everybody just had all the parts and knew everything, then it would work. But this makes for a much more interesting story.
Yeah.
One of my other favorite scenes with Bob in it is when he's actually figuring it out, because he's kind of he was picked on as a kid and kind of bullied, so he was kind of a
nerd.
He was, yeah. So he actually founded the AV Club, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Right?
That was kind of a cool little note.
Yeah. But he was picked on, so he stuck to more like games, puzzles, problem solving, that kind of stuff, which he gave some of the worst advice ever. But
he did, yes.
But I loved it where he's just like, X right here. Oh, what are you gonna find? Like treasure? You know?
Yeah. I appreciated that.
Yeah.
So we find Bob with Joyce, and we also find out that 11 is alive. Surprise, surprise.
Alive and well.
And she is living with Hopper, Jim Hopper, the police captain. And he has been keeping her away from everybody.
Yes.
Doesn't want her seeing anything because, it's not safe. How are people going to react to her? That sort of thing. They're
even going as far as Morse code to to kind of keep her safe and under wraps and laying low. And he comes up with these rules, and I love that whole those scenes where they were on scene together were awesome. Were great.
Yeah.
Where she's actually using her abilities to kind of slam the door and to bust glass, and he's trying to get upset at her, and it's difficult because he wants to be a father figure to her, but at the same time, she's way more stronger and way more powerful, than he even knows.
Yeah, how do you discipline somebody who has superpowers?
It reminded me a little bit of some of the struggle that I imagine, Superman's Earth parents, had to deal with.
Yeah. And so she's been kept away, and then if you remember at the very end of season 1, Will has that. It was like a part of the some sort of creature that came out of him.
Yeah.
And so it turns out that he has now a connection to the Upside Down.
Right. He's kind of a spy.
Yes.
Both good and bad.
Yeah. So we find out that he is
connected to the Hive.
Yeah, to the Hive, to this giant beast, this shadow creature, or what they call mind flayer, something like that. And so this creature can see what Will sees.
Right. Uses them kind of as one of the David dogs.
Yeah, pretty much. And so now we got our conflict. How do we stop this thing? It's been growing underneath the city.
It's started rotting everything.
Yeah. Yep. And
it's been growing an army.
Yes. And so that's pretty much
it in a nutshell.
Yeah, the basic plot synopsis.
Some of your other favorite scenes?
Oh man, let me see.
I really did with Steven and Dustin, where they were walking the train tracks.
That was a great little friendship there that those two had.
That they formed. It was just when they're talking about hair care products,
yes,
yep. and how to get the girl, and you have to, pretend like you don't care, and he's like, oh, well, I really don't care.
Yeah.
Although I do actually, I don't know if they would do this, but man, if I called it, okay, I could actually see Dustin, his character, him being gay.
Really?
Yeah. You know, he didn't get the girl. He's trying to like find himself. He's starting to use like, I don't know, maybe this is going out on a limb here, but you know, he's kind of started to use like all these different hair care products and stuff. You know?
Yeah. I see that.
And you know, where that scene where he's in the bus and he's talking about what's his bucket? Steve, just how cool he was. He's like, no, Steve's awesome. He's amazing, because he's out there with a baseball bat, which was another cool scene. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, I will say this. 11 does go on this little journey of self-discovery where she does find her mother. Mm-hmm. Spoilers. She also finds her sister, quote unquote, which is another child that was experimented on that also has powers. That she can make you see things that aren't there, and
which only reaffirms that this world is so much bigger than we once thought. It's not just the little, podunk town out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, this. We knew that when they called her 11, we're like, well, there has to be, 10 others.
1 through 10, yeah.
Right? But we hadn't seen that up until now.
Yeah. And I didn't much care for that plot. Yeah. I didn't care about those characters. I mean, she did have her Charles Xavier and Magneto moment. Mm-hmm. Where, she was teaching her how to control her powers. That it was really reminiscent like the Luke Skywalker, mm-hmm. Pulling the X-Wing out of the swamp. Yeah. Yeah. I just didn't care about that little plot.
I will say this. They did perfectly nail the 80s.
Oh, yes.
with those other, extras.
Yep.
They had it down to a T. And I did like the part where she helps to find, because it shows that she can find anybody, pretty much. So they get into any situation where they need to locate somebody. 11's your person to find.
Yeah.
So I liked that scene where she's beating up on the bodyguard.
Yeah.
That she's kind of, is this the kind of person I am? Or is this really who I am? And she couldn't bring herself to kill him.
The other thing I didn't like was the dumb romance that they keep doing with Will's brother and what's her face? I don't even remember their names. I don't care Nancy? That much. Yeah, Nancy and Crack Boy. He looks like he does crack.
Jonathan?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I didn't much care for that. Although, the reporter that they go and see, that was a funny scene. That was probably one of my favorites.
Where they're drinking, they get all liquored up, talking about how to water it down, the story, so it comes across more relatable for these people that aren't familiar with. You're giving them too much information otherwise, so just water it down. Yeah. Just water it down.
And in 11's absence, we are introduced to a new character, Max.
Sorry, one of their, with that reporter.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I busted up laughing so hard when he's just like, how was the pull-out?
Yes.
The pull-out bed.
Yeah. That was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. This new character, Max, she's this redheaded girl. Who Dustin and the black kid.
Oh, what's his bucket? Lucas.
Are kind of fighting over and trying to win her affection.
Which they actually made a reference to the game that they were playing in the very beginning. Where they're trying to get the princess.
Oh yeah.
That was her. She was the princess. Because those two guys were trying to see who would win, who would actually beat this video game. Yeah. They're putting so many quarters into it.
And she was fine.
Yeah.
I grew to like her. I didn't like her at first, but I grew to like the character.
What about her brother?
Hated her brother. And the whole time,
he was a sleazy dude.
And the whole time I was thinking, he looks like Zac Efron.
He did, yes. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Like, at first when I saw him, I'm like, is that Zac Efron? It's like, no, I didn't hear he was in this. I'm like, what? It looks so much like him. No, he was in the Power Rangers movie.
Oh, okay.
He was the Red Ranger in the Power Rangers
Really?
movie. Yeah.
Man, that creepy porno stash that he had rocking and going on.
Yeah.
That was, yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know what it is. I said this on Facebook. I don't know what it is about 80s bullies. They're not so much dicks as they are murderous. Like, this dude
right?
could have been a straight up killer.
It, like, come to find out, he's like Bundy or something.
Yeah.
One of these guys.
I mean, he was clearly a racist.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Didn't like that his sister was hanging around, or stepsister was hanging around Lucas.
He reminded me a lot of that same kid from the movie It. Where he's carving into the black kid.
Same thing.
Into the little fat kid.
See, 80s bullies,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, they're murderers.
Which they nailed. I mean, that's just the way it was
Yeah.
with all these stupid, cheesy movies.
Yeah. So I guess it makes sense.
Or when he's hitting on the mom. Oh, yeah, this is the cool place to hang out.
Yeah, that was uncomfortable. Yeah, yeah. I thought maybe that they would hook up.
I really thought that, they kind of neutered him. Max put him in his place when he was kind of hopped up on stuff, hitting.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that he actually
obeyed.
Didn't go back on that.
That he remembered it.
Yeah, like, why would he? I don't know. It seemed odd. But I mean, overall,
I did like that they introduced, an antagonist or kind of that kind of a character in there, because I felt like the dogs were a little lacking.
Mm-hmm.
They were all right, and that was kind of a crazy scene when Bob's trying to get out and escape. I liked that was kind of intense, but overall, I thought actually the Demogorgon in the first one was a better creature.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree.
These dogs,
I mean, yeah, they were menacing, but they weren't like giant 80s monster menacing.
Right.
They were kind of like raptors in Jurassic Park.
Raptors, or I was thinking kind of like the Tremors.
Yeah.
Like just more of a nuisance that you can still evade.
Yeah. What else I was going to say? Oh, Paul Reiser. He plays the scientist in this facility. I didn't know. I guess it's probably the way he played it, but I didn't know if he was going to be a good guy or a bad guy.
Oh, yeah, neither did I.
Like, I thought, like, first couple episodes, I'm like, he's gonna turn on him. There's something going on there.
He's got ulterior motives,
Yeah.
why he's helping him out.
But, no, he turned out to be a decent guy.
Decent dude, yeah.
I was surprised about.
You think he survived, right?
I think so.
Right?
I think we're led to believe he survived.
He helped Bob escape up until, R.I.P. Bob.
I was so sad when he died.
As soon as he turned back, I knew it was going to happen.
Oh, yeah. And Joni was watching that with me, and she called it.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as that mop fell out and hit the ground, like, she said, he's dead.
Yeah.
He's not making it out of it.
No.
I'm like, no, he's going to survive. He has to survive then. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
They did, if it would have helped the story, they would have kept him alive, but they let him play a bigger role than what he was supposed to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was still, and he actually Sean reached out to them to ask them if he could be in the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They didn't reach him out because they were worried that he would be too big of a star and he wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah. Here's another kind of interesting tidbit. When they were dressed up as Ghostbusters, they got permission from Dan Aykroyd and
Bill Murray?
No, the director of it. Oh, I can't remember his name now.
Well, they got permission from them?
Yeah, they got permission from them to use the Ghostbusters, uniform and everything. And they didn't have to pay for it.
Really?
Yeah. They said, go ahead.
Yeah.
Like, they were a fan of that show. There's like, you want to use it? Go ahead.
By all means.
By all means, it's all yours. And I guess they sent like a bunch of Ghostbusters merchandise to him, like after it wrapped and that sort of thing.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
Man.
Ivan Reitman.
Yes.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Overall, where you because the first season came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Right? Like, nobody was expecting it to be that good. And then the second season, they really built it up. They even had, like, a commercial in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So it was really hyped up. Did it live up to the hype, would you say?
I think so.
Which is difficult to do because, man.
The first one was a phenomenon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
It took a few episodes to really get going.
Right.
You know, in the first season, by the end of the first episode, they were off and running.
Right.
This one takes a couple. But once it gets going, it's
pretty relentless.
Minus the 11 stuff. It's really good. And it's really compelling. And it's pretty entertaining. So, overall, I mean, out of 5...
Demo dogs?
Yeah. I would say, man.
3.5, almost 4?
Yes.
Yeah, somewhere right in there.
Yeah.
That's as well.
Whereas the first season, I would do like 4.5, almost 5.
Mm-hmm.
This one, if it wasn't for the 11 stuff, I might have a higher rating, but I just didn't care. You know?
Mm-hmm.
11 is best when she is with the other kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is when she is best. By herself, it's not that interesting.
Because, I mean, it was kind of cool that she started to, you know, learn how to speak properly, and they took, like, their time making it to where she could hold her own in a conversation. But, yeah. Even still, that took me out of it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, you should.
Right.
But I would say definitely watch the first season first. This isn't something you can just pick up and just go with. You will be confused.
Right.
So watch the first season.
And then as far as, because they said that they're only going to do 4 seasons, you know, up until they're out of, like, middle school, going into high school.
Yeah.
You can only have so many, like, strange things happen to these kids before it just kind of gets redundant and...
It gets weird.
Yeah. Where do you think the third season's going to go? They kind of really... I mean...
I think now that the Upside Down has been sealed up, again, spoilers.
Yeah.
If you're listening this far, you know.
Right.
Now that that's been sealed up, I think they may be done with that story, and they're going to focus more on 11 and more on the other kids. I think eventually you're going to see all those kids come together at some point, and you know, superpower some, I don't know, other monster or something. I'm not sure. But I think that's
going to get crazy big. I know they'll have the budget for it, but that's going to be like, that could go almost over the top, do you think? There's a fine line. Because they have to, because you still have to keep it in the 80s.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you go too out there, I think as far as you can go is Race to Witch Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
right, yeah,
something along that lines.
Yeah, but I think that's where they're going to go. They're going to focus on 11 and her backstory. And
hopefully that pans out, because I would hate it to be, you know, pull an Iron Fist out of the group. You know, you get the Daredevil, you get Luke Cage, and then you get like an Iron Fist or Jessica Jones, and you're just like, okay. And then they finally come, you know, Defenders, and it kind of redeems itself, but not like the first 2 seasons.
Yeah. So would Will be Daredevil?
Yeah.
Because he kind of had another sight, you know. He was seeing things.
That's true.
Kind of had superpowers, quote unquote.
Yeah. Mike's Mike. It'd be kind of funny. It's like Mike and Lucas fighting to be who's Luke Cage.
Yeah. It's like, well, obviously,
You're like, no, but I don't want to be him. You have to be him. Well,
you have to be Luke Cage. Like, why? Like, well. All right. So yeah, we really liked it. So go
check it out. It's got the World War G stamp of approval.
Yes, it does. Wow, we went really long on this episode. Hopefully you've stuck with us this whole time. Here's where you can find all of our other episodes. You can go to worldwarg.podbean.com. You can also find us on iTunes and the Google Play Store. Just search World War G. On the social medias, you can find us at facebook.com/worldwargpodcast. On Twitter and Instagram, you can find us at WWG Podcast. You can find all of our shirts and other merchandise at shop.spreadshirt.com/worldwarg. You can also email us anytime.
Day or night.
At worldwgpodcast@gmail.com. So, this has been the World War G podcast. That has been AJ.
That has been Troy.
Stay geeky, my friends. And, don't touch people. Don't want to be touched.